What is the biggest myth? Doing hours and hours of cardio, will that help to lose fat? Some people believe that you need to get protein or supplements.
Started gym in Sri Lanka, and then they were like, yeah, how much are you going to charge them? 500 rupees? Nobody's going to pay 500 rupees for your gym. Wow, we don't have gyms like this in England.
They didn't expect
in
that,
London,
yeah.
we don't have gyms like this. The biggest lie that we have believed for a long, long time. Some people can't eat. They struggle to eat. Children struggle to eat.
Yeah.
And that's where whey proteins and all really help. Yeah, so I think this is a huge problem that ladies struggle with. So ladies will not put on, but
Talavou, I'm sure that you also experience a lot of elderly citizens or older citizens coming into the power world as well. There's a myth I've heard. Lifting weights, strength training is too dangerous for older people. What's the truth behind it?
oh, it's a huge myth. Because when we get older, our growth hormone levels start to go down. And at 50, up to about 50, we look young and we still look, have a certain youthful look to ourselves. But then when you hit 50, all growth hormone levels start to crash, testosterone levels start to crash, and all that starts to take place. Aging really starts to kick in around 50. And you can see people who, suddenly 50, 53, you see them and they're like age 6 years or 10 years sometimes. And that's because these growth hormone levels are secreting down. Now, and with that comes this huge muscle loss that really affects, and aging becomes a huge issue.
Yeah.
Right? So
It'll affect the joints and, yeah.
there's a complete impact that takes place. So if I was to take a muscle, a cross-section cut of a 20-year-old's thigh, if there were 100 muscle fibers, and you take a 90-year-old's thigh and you have a cross-section cut, it'll be about 30. So about
Right.
70%
Loss.
of muscle has disappeared.
Right.
Right? So the problem for that, the reason why it's disappeared is that muscle has a viability size. There's a flow level. At the moment it shrinks to a certain flow level, it dies.
Right,
And
okay.
once it dies, it doesn't come
It
back.
doesn't come back.
Right?
Right.
Now, strength training is the only exercise that can protect and keep pushing the muscle fiber beyond that, keep it away from the flow level.
Flow level, okay.
Right?
Right.
So now I can be 60 years old, but I still look like I'm a 50-year-old or a 45 because my muscle fiber the quantity I have is that of a 45-year-old, 50-year-old.
So you maintain
even though
that.
I'm numerically 6,
Right.
I'm biologically 40, 45.
Right.
So I can be 70 and I can still look like 55. I can be 80 and still function like a 60-year-old because I'm slowing down the process, and strength training is the only exercise that allows the muscle to hold that size before it kind of dies, right? So it's a huge benefit to bring strength training into your life well in advance.
Absolutely.
Make it a lifestyle. Enter strength training, especially if you're older. You need to have strength training, and research shows that up to the age of about 80, your muscle does respond to strength training,
Right.
and you do become stronger, right? That increases your mobility, your ability for quality of life, sicknesses, falls, breaks. When you fall, you can handle the hit. All these disabilities associated with aging is all pushed back when your muscle is strong and it's healthy.
Right.
The only way that can take place is through strength training. So if there is an exercise that older people must take, is strength training.
Yeah.
They must go to the gym, they must do strength training. More than cardio, it's
Yeah.
the strength training part that helps structure, keeps them strong, keeps their bones strong, because all the muscles are connected to
Connected
bone.
to the bones, yeah.
So when the muscle is strong, the bone has to be strong.
Sure.
All this calcium has to be given a reason to push into the bone.
Okay.
To go in, there must be demand.
Okay.
And that comes from muscle.
Interesting.
So the stronger the muscle is, the stronger the bone. The stronger the bone is, the healthier the person is.
structure, yeah.
Lifestyle is better. Quality of life is amazing.
Absolutely.
So you grow, you biologically maybe, numerically you may be, going up in number, but biologically you can be so many years below that age.
Below that, yeah. Very interesting. I think that the knowledge has to go into the society, because I don't think the masses know about this knowledge. It's very important. The next question, Talavou, is about cholesterol. And, me being a victim at one point also. One is, is there doctors say it has to be below 240. Does the fatty food increase your cholesterol levels? What is the whole science behind cholesterol and controlling cholesterol?
So fatty levels, in some sense, I mean, it's true. I mean, definitely
yeah.
saturated
Yeah.
foods do affect, cholesterol. But the problem is that the Sri Lankan diet, if it's lacking 50% protein,
Yes.
all fat is connected to protein. I
Right,
mean, the
right.
beef in whatever you eat, right? If you're not eating too much of protein, you can never eat the amount of fat that you need to eat
Yeah.
to actually get a cholesterol problem. I mean, that may be a Western problem, but definitely not a Sri Lankan
Not a Sri
problem,
Lanka
right?
problem, yeah.
So then still we have cholesterol problems. How does that happen?
Yeah.
The reason is the dominance of carbohydrates,
Oh, right.
the huge refined carbohydrates that converts in the liver to triglycerides,
And
which
deposits,
impacts
yeah.
the cholesterol level.
Right.
And that also, the problem is the LDL levels or this bad cholesterol.
Yeah.
Out of the bad cholesterol also there is this small dense particles
Yeah.
of the thing that is most dangerous that causes plaques.
yeah.
So when you have a lot of refined carbohydrates, that causes much more damage to Sri Lankans
Yeah.
than I would say fatty foods.
Oh, okay.
So, but cholesterol by itself at the normal level is very, very valuable for us because it impacts, it keeps the cell membrane, it's a structure very healthy in the cell. Cholesterol is absolutely important for that.
Yeah.
Our hormones, a huge amount of it is because of cholesterol and sex hormones. All of that is controlled by cholesterol.
Yeah.
So by artificially bringing it down too much, it can affect a lot of our hormones, and therefore our whole lifestyle can change, and there can be a lot of hits that take place. So cholesterol has these benefits, and as much as fatty foods can affect, I don't think it's a Sri Lankan issue.
Yeah.
It's a European issue or a Western issue, but we have a huge refined carbohydrate issue where we need to watch the
Bread,
carbs we are
the white
eating.
rice
The
and
white
all that,
stuff.
yeah. The
We need to
sugar,
turn to
yeah.
red, to
Yeah.
brown, to
Yeah.
vegetables, the sugars, the refined foods. These are the ones that are causing our cholesterol to really spike.
I saw a video some time back. Somebody was arguing, saying, "Who said the cholesterol has to be 240? Is it a medical thing that's been brought in?" He said, and the research also said the countries like New Zealand, etc., who consume cheese, does not have heart diseases, and that's what the research said. What's the truth behind it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of new thinking coming in, a lot of new research coming in. Cholesterol not being an issue is one of those big things that are coming out. That's not fully settled on that. But because there's there's a lot of thinking that, the reason why cholesterol is going up is because the body's saying, I need more cholesterol. If you're not going to give me, I'm going to produce it.
Right.
And then what happens is we give medication to bring it down. But for the body's function, it needs cholesterol,
requires,
and
yeah.
therefore it is producing it because it needs it. So, and then we artificially bring it down, and then we overall downstream we are affecting our health, and our body is not functioning well. The immunity is down. Our systems, our structures are falling apart. Because maybe the medication has been undermining our cholesterol requirement for the healthy hormones to function and all that. So there is a lot of discussion on this.
I think stress on the other side is also a factor because your body needs to respond and your hormones will demand in terms of production
Exactly.
of
So to be able to handle it better,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
So cholesterol becomes a huge component. So
Yeah.
there's a huge benefit by having cholesterol. This putting this ceiling has been questioned now and been challenged.
Been challenged.
Because of the huge benefit of cholesterol, and the body is producing high cholesterol because our body is the one that produces a lot of this. And if your body is producing, why are you bringing it down?
Yeah.
The body is saying it needs it. See, the body's primary objective is to live as long as it can.
Yep.
It doesn't undermine itself easily. It's
Sure.
trying to live as long as it can. And if it's bringing a natural self-defense mechanism of increasing cholesterol, we got to kind of listen to it and say,
yeah.
what's going on?
Absolutely.
Why is my body doing this? It's not going to commit suicide. It's trying to get better.
Yeah.
So that's where it is.
Talavou, one more question. You've been advising most of the national sports athletes and national teams as well. We believe, especially in the rugby arena or any other physical sport, that Asians or even Sri Lankans are small made and we cannot compete in the physical level. You've been advocating this story. I've heard from you as well. So would you like to shed your thoughts into for the benefit of our listeners also?
It's an absolute myth. We can compete against the world. Physical structure, yes, it settles in different parts of the world in different ways. So if you look at the Cuban boxers, Cubans are born to an emerging world or a developing world kind of country, with 5% body fat. And they are world champions in boxing, right? And so depending on the fat percentages that you inherit at birth, and depending on the demand of the sport, the structure it needs, or the efficiency of that movement that is needed, we all have to adapt our physical structures to that.
Yeah.
So a rugby, if national coach of rugby guy, in New Zealand goes to the grounds, the guys who walk in were born that size.
Yeah.
When they walk, the All Blacks walk in.
Yeah.
The same coach comes to Sri Lanka and they watch the national team coming out. It's a different size,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But because the body's adaptability is so huge, it can adapt to strength. So we have to do extra strength training, extra homework,
Okay.
extra nutrition. Whereas the New Zealand guy is born with all of that. His little taro and the other diets he gets is more than enough to keep
them going,
muscle
yeah.
size and going. And for us to get to that, we had to work harder. We had to plan more. It's a longer, more journey for us. But we can match them.
We can match.
Right.
Talo, just to interrupt that, one of my school friends, he moved to Australia and he was part of a rugby academy. He said the nutrition planning, the strength and conditioning starts when they're about 13 years old, not when they reach the national level.
Exactly. So they are planning in advance. They have the genetic support structure. They're physically born and they have the structure that supports rugby, right? And they're also taking those additional steps in advance. So how much more does Sri Lanka have to do?
Yeah.
So we have to sort our own problem with a homegrown solution that can match. So today we have a javelin thrower who threw the world's number one two throwers. Javelin,
right?
Who 2025 furthest throws in the world,
right,
were done by two javelin throwers, Sri Lankans.
Wow.
Javelin is a physical structure event, right?
Absolutely.
And both of them in the last 3 weeks became number one in the world. 1 and 2 now Sri Lanka's highest, furthest throwing from us.
Yeah.
So how can you say Sri Lanka has no structure?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the most masculine event if you look javelin throw, right?
Absolutely.
And we have structure. So it's all nutrition. And we have been supporting one of the athletes, and he's only 21 years old. And we expect him to win a medal at the Olympic Games coming up, next 2 Olympic Games. But nutrition has been huge for him. We've been sponsoring him with 300 eggs, supplementation to build him to that point. And now result is coming. So when the nutrition comes about and all of it is put together, we can match the world. Nobody can say that we
Absolutely.
can't.
And I'd like to conclude the segment. You have a vision to get medals for Sri Lanka, and you've been part of the system for a long time. You've been an athlete. Would you like to, say a few words about your vision about, getting Sri Lanka that deserving medals?
Yes, exactly. So 2036, India most probably will host the Olympics,
Games. Yeah.
And I believe as the neighbor going to that Olympic Games, we should win at least 10 medals from Sri Lanka at that Games. Now, the problem we have is 12 years from now, we can't hold a plan for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And to go for 12 years is next to impossible for our existing structures.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it exists, and holding a plan and saying we want to go for 12 years doesn't work. So for that reason, I launched a program called Vision 2036 Initiative, where we took this whole concept into the private sector, where privately we will manage it for the country so that there's continuity that will take place.
Right.
And we're inviting the whole of the private sector to come together with us, to journey with us, and work with the school champion athletes who are today 18, 19-year-olds.
Right.
And then by 2036, we can have a pool of 600 athletes who will be all number ones. Well fed, well looked after, training has been at the highest level, supported without a break, irrespective of government change, irrespective of association changes.
It's a continuous plan,
Continuous plan. So I believe by 2036, we definitely will win a minimum 10 medals for the country.
I think we deserve that. Looking back at the last 7 decades, we have only got,
2 medals.
2 medals. We are much more better sporting country than that. And I like to take this time to wish you and the team for that vision. And, it's truly inspiring us. And all the best, Talavou.
Thank you very much.
So, folks, that's a wrap. Before I conclude, I'd like to thank Talavou for joining us for a very, very interesting conversation. And you didn't only give your thoughts from an experience point of view, but scientifically explain how it matters and what we need to take out from that. I'm sure that, you left a lot of thought with our viewers to think about their nutrition, health, and fitness as well. So, thank you, Talavou, for joining JXT Spotlight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, folks, that's a wrap for today. I'm sure that today's topic really increased your interest levels in fitness, nutrition, and food. So we have to be conscious. There's always a science behind it, and we try to, as much as possible, explain the science and the practicality behind fitness and the myths that surrounds us. So be conscious about what you eat. Have your activity levels. Talk to an expert. Go to an expert to get proper views rather than just following the myths and what is being told by somebody else. So thank you very much for joining. If you like our contents, put a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. There are much more interesting topics coming on your way. So stay tuned to JXG Spotlight. Until then, stronger together, stronger than ever.